Good morning. My name is Bob Bullwinkel. You heard correctly. You may laugh. My family is very proud of our part of the rich history of the arts and entertainment in California as being the inspiration for the greatest animated cartoon of all time. That's actually true. My distant
You're
relative.
much better looking, I think.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. We share some personality traits. But my relative Clarence Bullwinkle actually ran a car dealership in Berkeley where Jay Ward, the creator of Rocky and Bullwinkle, lived. And so he took the name and character from my relative who actually sued him because he didn't like he didn't like the cartoon moose. Lost the suit, but we're happy to be part of California's arts and entertainment history. And I'm here today to talk to you, Mr. Calderon, in particular, because you asked the question, what can we do to connect business leaders with the idea that arts education is a vital economic issue? So I want to share what we're doing in a very unlikely venue in Fresno, California, far away from Hollywood, far away from Silicon Valley. So thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee members. I'd like you just for a second to be honest and ask yourself, seriously, what do you think of when you hear the word Fresno? Probably something like that, right? But if you've traveled up and down the 99 a few times or the 5 a few times and you've actually stopped in Fresno, you might think it's something like this. That's right. The New York Times has called Fresno County the Appalachia of the West, and this year in a new article they've now called us the Detroit of California. With the nation's highest concentration of generational poverty, an agricultural economy laid waste by drought, and a recent designation as the state's most dangerous place to live, this appellation is unfortunately very appropriate. Citizens in Fresno County have a shorter lifespan, greater likelihood of significant health issues, a more limited education, and less access to knowledge compared with other Californians. So it's no surprise that these conditions have had an impact on schools. Fresno Unified School District is California's fourth largest with over 72,000 students. 84% of those students qualify for a free or reduced price lunch, and 50% of those Fresno Unified students are English language learners. Fresno's not alone. I'm sorry that Senator Cannella and Senator Fuller aren't here since they represent Ceres and Bakersfield. This is an all too common story in the Central Valley. So it might surprise you then to know that in the last few years, a quiet revolution has begun in Fresno, driven by two engines, an emerging technology hub and a revitalized arts and cultural scene, both captured in a wonderful series I encourage you to read in the Atlantic Monthly, where Fresno is now called not just the next center of technology in California, but also the new Bohemia, because it refers to our revitalized downtown and our mural cultural arts district. So today we're going to talk about how a unique new movement in Fresno has captured this energy and is driving it forward through an initiative that frames arts education as a critical need for California's creative economy. Fresno is a strong example that creative industries can flourish anywhere, not just in the areas that the Portrait of California report called the Silicon Valley Shangri-La, California, or the Metro Coastal Enclave, California, but also in what they call the Central Valley, the Forsaken 5%, California. So, Fresno, it's not just about raisins anymore. Despite the challenges facing our county, there's an arts revolution going on in Fresno, in the community, but especially in our schools. Since 2006, with the vision of our leaders and the funding to go along with it, Superintendent Peter Mijas, then Superintendent Larry Powell, and now Superintendent Jim Iovino at the Fresno County Office of Education, we've worked with more than 500 local partners in the Fresno Arts Network to fulfill an ambitious mission, a high-quality arts education for every student in every school every day. Since that time, the Fresno County Office of Education has built a team of 7 full-time arts experts working with the 32 school districts and nearly 200,000 students in our county and with counties and districts around the state. So our work is primarily in 3 areas. First, we provide professional learning for teachers and strategic planning for school districts. As an example, we worked with Fresno Unified, that 4th largest in California, to bring the Kennedy Center to the Central Valley as part of their Any Given Child initiative. Because of this partnership, Fresno Unified has created new district-wide arts programs for all students and participated with the Fresno County Office of Education on an ambitious plan to provide rigorous arts integration training to all elementary teachers, nearly 2,000 in total. So beginning last year with transitional kindergarten, and now this year with kindergarten, and proceeding to 6th grade, we're training every single teacher in Fresno Unified to integrate the arts across the curriculum, guaranteeing that when the arts are cut, they won't be, because they're embedded in the regular curriculum. So the County Office of Thank you. The County Office of Education has also partnered with the Kennedy Center and the Fresno Arts Council, thank you, California Arts Council, on Partners in Education to create a strategic plan to train hundreds of artists in the community to work in the schools. These powerful partnerships have resulted in our successful application for a $1.4 million federal grant to continue this work with Fresno Unified. Now, no progress can be made without a measuring stick. And in Fresno County, we have a unique one, an awards program called the Superintendent's Model Arts, or SMART Award, that recognizes not just artistic excellence, but most importantly, equity and access for all students. And I offer that as an example of something that can be talked about when we're looking at statewide assessment in the arts. We also give direct services to students in identified gap areas. We have a robust artist in residence program that provides free arts programs to schools, as well as free summer arts programs, no charge to any participating student in our county. Our youth programs reflect the diverse population of the Central Valley and focus on engaging students in service for social justice through the arts. Finally, it's the goal of our visionary superintendent, Jim Uvino, that the FCOE offer regional, state, and national leadership in the arts by providing powerful examples of what can be achieved even in the most challenging economic circumstances, and by participating in organizations like Create California. That acronym stands for Core Reforms Engaging Arts to Educate, where we're a founding and continuing member of the leadership team working to broaden and deepen support for the arts in California schools. And the model we have in California, 58 county offices of education who provide support and services to local schools, is the backbone of our work as a statewide leader with the California County Superintendent's Arts Initiative. But today, we're here to focus on the arts and the economy. So I've been invited to talk about our new project of the FCOE, the Arts Business Coalition, and its Spark initiative. We believe this can be replicated across the state. Spark began as a conversation, and now we get to your question, Mr. Calderon. Spark began as a conversation with local business leaders who identified the arts as the best way to educate the workers they need for the 21st century. Led by Darius Assemi, who's president of Granville Homes, one of our largest local employers, the Arts Business Coalition brings together business leaders and educators around the issue of arts education and its role in college and career readiness, prosperity for the community, and cultural vitality. Mr. Assemi recognized that not only did the arts permeate all areas of his industry, from architecture to landscaping to marketing, but the arts are a vital part of our community's prosperity and vitality. The vision of the Arts Business Coalition is a prosperous community with college and career-ready graduates skilled in creativity, collaboration, critical thinking, and communication through their arts education. The Arts Business Coalition makes visible the clear link between arts education and the need for a creative 21st century workforce, for economic growth in our community, and for higher quality of life for our citizens. But before we go any further, I'd like to tell you a story about a couple of musicians. I'm a musician and a theater artist, so I want to tell you a story about a couple of musicians who changed our world by messing around in their spare time with physics. I'm told this may take a second to load, so I can tap dance if you like while we wait.
You're a musician.
Well, I'm multi-talented. So think about the change that these two musicians who messed around with physics in their spare time made in our lives. Without their theories, we'd have no transistors, no integrated circuits, no computers, no cell phones, no digital media, and worst of all, no 55-inch high-def big screen TVs to watch sports on. So you might be thinking that this is all a coincidence. There's no connection really between the arts and imagination, between innovation and creativity, unless you consider this. Nobel Prize winners are 3 times more likely than average to have been engaged in the creative arts. And of course, we have volumes of research establishing the critical need for the arts in education for both cognitive and social emotional goals. We know that 93% of Americans want arts education for their kids. We know that only 1 in 10 kids in California gets that kind of comprehensive sequential arts education. What the Arts Business Coalition seeks is to reframe that conversation around economic issues. We all know about the IBM study that shows that employers rate creativity as the most important skill for new hires, but 85% of those employers can't find the creative workers they need, and those workers themselves, 82% of them wish that they had a more creative education. The Arts Business Coalition believes that California schools must do a better job of preparing students for jobs in California's $274 billion creative economy, and thank you to the folks who created the Otis report. I cannot tell you how big of an impact that makes when we go to talk to business leaders and we can quote those dollars and cents and numbers to them. That's what really gets the conversation going. Sure. So in Fresno, we believe that a high-quality arts education will help us create the vibrant, culturally rich community that we want to live in. We know that students in the arts are 3 times less likely to drop out and 3 times more likely to earn a bachelor's degree. We know that an arts-rich community means lower crime and incarceration rates and higher property values. And we know that the arts build a diverse, well-educated population and create a pool of skilled creative workers. And we think that our community is ready for this initiative. In just 12 short months, the Arts Business Coalition in Fresno County has generated over $300,000 for the Spark Initiative. That may seem like small potatoes, but if you look at what's happening in our economy and then translate it out to the rest of the state, you can see that there's potential for this idea that the arts do mean business. We've raised that money for the Spark Initiative, which adopts schools in our most challenged neighborhoods and creates arts programs where none existed before. By guiding these schools through a strategic planning process, Spark creates sustainability for these programs when grant funding ends. For example, in Mendota, out on the west side of Fresno at McCabe Elementary School, unemployment's pushing 40% out there and the drought is killing the farmers. But at McCabe Elementary School, music exists for the first time in living memory because of the Spark Initiative, and that story is retold at tens and hundreds of schools throughout Fresno County because of this initiative. This fundraising has also leveraged millions in new arts spending by our school districts who've taken up the cause. Our next steps are really to connect creativity back to the workplace and to show businesses in our area what they can learn from creative arts education. And also we have in the works a marketing campaign to change public will around arts education by making that connection to the economy. So my personal story. I was born and raised in California. I'm a product of California Public Schools, where I had the arts as part of my curriculum from day one. Then I became a teacher for 25 years in Fresno County, and I found students who hadn't had those advantages growing up. When I got them in high school, they were just an open wound, a huge hole ready to be filled by whatever they could find to fill that need. And the arts is what fills that need. So my students went on to do all kinds of successful things, and they were at-risk high schools, some of the most challenged neighborhoods in our community where success in anything, much less the arts, was not the norm. So those kids went on, and they became not necessarily dancers and singers and visual artists, but they became, and I know this because of the miracle of Facebook, where I asked them all to tell me what they'd done with the arts in their life, and they said, I'm a podiatrist. I'm a paleontologist, I'm an attorney, I'm an engineer, I'm a CEO, I'm a small business owner, I'm a photographer, a professor, a counselor, a contractor, but all of them to a person, and I got hundreds of responses on this, said the arts are what changed their lives, the arts are what made them the success that they are. Sure. So thank you for the opportunity to share this with you this morning.